Hey friends, thanks for joining me for this follow-up video to my birthday wish list video that I posted about a month ago. Heads up for those of you that are either minimalists or you just hate like these overconsumption types of videos. Thank you for dropping in. This one may not be for you, but for those of you that like to be nosy and see what people buy in their hauls, I'm nosy. I love to click into a good old haul video and see what people thought was worthy of purchasing and picking up and what their thoughts are on them. Y'all stick around. Those of you that are nosy, pull up a chair, get your cup of coffee. Let me chat with you about, wait for it, 16 fragrances that made it into my house. And there are a couple on the way. Actually, three, I think. Wait, was it four? Four that I purchased in the recent Joma Shop sale. I'm just going to count those toward my birthday extravaganza as well. Like any excuse to shop, right? Anyway, pull up a chair. Let's talk. If you are into hair, if you're into makeup, if you're into skincare products, any of that, join me on my other channel, Essential Veronica, where we talk about all of the other things I purchased for my birthday that have nothing to do with perfume, but are in the beauty space. So that wish list video was about me turning 50, the big 50, and the fragrances that I just wanted to have an excuse to gift myself. So from the fragrances I talked about in that wish list video, 3 made it into this haul. And I'll share my quick thoughts on them. They are FEVE Gourmande from Guerlain, REFLET Sul Locavango from ELYSIUM, and Hysterica from Gritti, and I've still got my eye on Monica from the same house. Instead of reading you any notes, I'm just gonna tell you off the top of my head what the fragrance smells like to me. And I think I forgot to mention that there's maybe a fail in this group. Imagine that. And one that I think I'm gonna have to do a full day wear on before I make my final decision because I liked it when I sampled it a couple of years ago. And when it arrived, I realized perhaps my tastes have changed a little bit. So let us start off with FEVE Gourmande, which was one that I had had my eye on for forever and 3 days. They did not have the smaller bottles. I don't think Guerlain sells the smaller, like 1.7 ounce bottles of this line anymore. They're higher end, l'art and material, is that how you say it? Line. So this is a rebrand of Gourmande Cocan, which is their famous chocolate gourmandy leaning perfume. This is so pretty. I just, sprayed it on the blotter. I haven't worn it fully, but it is exactly as I hoped it would smell. But I find that the chocolate is maybe not the primary feature of the fragrance. It's an accompanying player or a little bit softer than you might find in a typical chocolate gourmand fragrance. I get some woody facets in the base, maybe even a little bit of patchouli, and something soft and floral in the middle. And people have mentioned that this has a boozy quality, and I can sort of pick that up here. The smell that comes off of this is like the subtle smell from one of the most finely made chocolate desserts. So if you think of like high-end bakeries that make really specialty types of desserts, they use really high quality ingredients. There's a sort of waft in the air that carries a little bit of the chocolate. Here you go, something like that, along with this beautiful, deeper perfume, like a regal 80s smell deal here. I think this is gorgeous. I can't wait to wear this, and I have no regrets about getting the bigger size. Pricey, stupid pricey. Then let's go to Reflet Sul Locovango. This actually smells different from my sampling experience, but I still have no regrets and think it is beautiful, maybe even in a different way than I described from my sampling. So I have to tell you, when I smell this off of the blotter, I get like whiffs of parts of Tilia from Marc-Antoine Berrois, a little tiny hint of Valleja by Parfums de Marly, and maybe deep in the background, something akin to another 13 or those kinds of molecular types of deals. I have to say that the consistency between the sampling experience and this bottle is that there is this sort of golden floral quality to this without being sickeningly syrupy, sweet, or thick. This is a substantial smelling fragrance, but it also has this very airy, nearly powdery kind of hay-like texture to it in the smell. Words that I would use to describe this: dry in the most positive way possible. There are some fragrances that smell humid. I think FEVE Gourmande is humid smelling. This one has a little bit of a dry texture. The word golden comes to mind. Light, happy, sunny, floral, clean, fresh, and feminine, very ladylike fragrance. So I'm really looking forward to wearing this one. I was hoping that ELYSIUM had smaller bottle sizes because my collection is big. I'm trying to do smaller bottle sizes so that I can maybe go through them quicker. But such is life. This only comes in the big bottle, and this was another pricey one, and I have no regrets. How could I forget to tell you that this does remind me of the Okavango Delta. I told you several stories about that in different videos and my journeys to the southern part of the African continent, not to that part in particular, South Africa, but some similarities in experiences that I had in South Africa with the description of this fragrance and what it's supposed to evoke from the Okavango Delta. And so, yes, this fragrance will probably forever remind me of that golden light in the video of the planet Earth that I mentioned, where you see the animals coming to the delta to drink water, either in the morning or as the sun starts to go down. Yes. Let me also pause to say that my son is downstairs playing the piano and he's singing. He has a great singing voice, but he never wants to sing in front of us because he's a kid and, they're shy about that sort of thing. I'm certainly shy about singing in front of people unless I've had a glass or two of wine and then game on at karaoke. Put on the 80s tunes. We are going to blast to like Cyndi Lauper, etc. But he's singing downstairs and he promised me that he would film it. So I can't wait to see what the video looks like and what he sounds like because I think he has a great voice. He's past that age where he doesn't have his little boy voice anymore. I mean, he's always going to be a little boy to me, but he's 16 and he has his full man voice and it's deep and it's robust. And it reminds me of the guy's name, George Ezra. If you don't know George Ezra, you've got to check out some of his music. His voice is magical. And my son reminds me of that voice. Let us move on. This next fragrance may or may not be staying in my collection. I'm going to give it a thumbs up for now. My husband did not like the way that this smelled, and I may have to override him on this one. I'm not sure, but this is Hysterica from Gritti, which has this beautiful velvet. I don't like velvet on bottles. We've talked about that, but the color is pretty pink, like Pink Pantherish. Bottom, bottom, bottom. The opening of this is probably offensive for maybe the first, I don't know, 15 to 30 seconds or so. It's like super spicy, pungent, almost smells like pungent spices. And you can smell like a very sort of animalic honey in the opening and mega intense florals. Like all of the bouquets at the funeral home have wilted and they're dying, and all of that just came together in the opening of this fragrance. As it settles down, though, you get this bubblegummy, tuberosy, floral, maybe even tropical florals too, scent along with a pretty distinct syrupy honey. The honey in here is thick, although it in the dry down isn't quite as maybe carnal, okay, as it is in the opening. The honey becomes a lot more tolerable and interesting, and it's super like feminine energy hug in a bottle deal. So I think this is pretty. I'm gonna have to do a full day wear and then float by my husband and see if he even recognizes the scent that he first thought it was, because that happens. Sometimes he will dislike something when we first try it, like on skin or bladder, when it, arrives and we open it. And then when I have a chance to wear it and he smells the sillage, then it's a completely different story. And that happens to me too. So I give this a thumbs up, even though it got a thumbs down here in the house. Let me go back to this one, Hysterica, before I get into the next bunch, because the blotter has calmed down quite a bit and I'm sniffing it again and realizing that this has a little bit of a soda pop type of smell. Like the way that Coca-Cola smells, imagine that with a bubblegummy smell and a nice, deep, sweet honey smell. That is what this is. But let's wear it and then I'll come back to you. So then in the So Avant-Garde sale, one of the ones I picked up is from Mizensir, and this is For Your Love. I wanted to pick up Tray Share too, but it was sold out. So I'll have to try that in the next sale. Not try it because I have smelled that. I have a sample of that and I really do like that one too. This one opens up to me pretty distinctly smelling very similar to Baccarat Rouge 540 with that airiness, but that goes away pretty quickly. I would describe this as like a floral, sugary smell with musk, some airy, light aspects, and I sense some woody patchouli base notes here. And I really think that this is very, very pretty, very reminiscent of old school, like Hollywood glamour types of smells. I think it's a really robust fragrance. And although I haven't worn it, people say this lasts a long time and projects well. So I'm excited to wear this. And people also say this is a compliment magnet. So we will see how this one goes. I ended up picking up Roja ELYSIUM Perfume. So this bottle is very, very pretty in hand. This is my first Roja. I haven't been super crazy about the Roja fragrances that I have tried, but this one is pretty. I mentioned when I sampled this before that I didn't feel like the smell was a 300 and whatever it cost, 315 or something, dollar smell. Maybe it was 350. I don't remember. Something with 3 and a 5 in it. And I said that if it went on sale, I would pick it up. Well, this was the right price. I think by the time it was all said and done, I forget what the exact price was, but it was reasonable for me. And I did like this when I sampled it. And I stand by that this reminds me of some smell from the past, something in the mid 90s neighborhood, maybe Victoria's Secret-esque, or maybe even like a Bath and Body Works smell that I really loved, or some other perfume that I wore at that time that was very girly, shampooy, slightly fruity. airy, fun. This is a really fun fragrance. It's super duper pretty. Very, very pretty. Now I feel bad for saying it wasn't worth the full price because it is quite a gorgeous fragrance, and I'm glad to have it in hand. This reminds me of Pretty Girl shampoo, fun candy. It also has not. It doesn't smell like bubblegum, but it reminds me of a bubblegum feel, like that youthful, happy skating around in the 80s and 90s. Did y'all roller skate? I mean, in the 80s, I had the skates that had the 4 wheels on them that were wide. In fact, y'all, I'm so old. I wore skates that you could adjust to your size. The metal ones, y'all know what I'm talking about. You stuck your foot in it and it could expand or it could contract. I wore those, and then maybe at the end of my elementary school years, not middle school, we graduated to proper skates where it has like a boot on it, the white boots that you would tie up really tight. But wait, there's more. Even before all of that, I remember being on plastic skates as a little kid, and in fact, the skates were colored like this. They were blue, they were pink, they were really bright, and they were made for probably from toddler age to about, 7-ish or so. And then we graduated to the metal skates, and then we went up to the white proper skates with the lace-up skates. This reminds me of the feeling of putting those skates on and being footloose and happy free and skating down the neighborhood streets with gum in my mouth, some candy in my back pocket, going to see my friends. So I really, really like this fragrance. It settles down into this sweet, maybe fruity floral deal with a little bit of a bright, musky background. I really like this. Let's go to the couple of Dusita fragrances that I purchased. Thank you to everyone who weighed in on that last video with your thoughts on these. I wish I had listened to some of your thoughts. I might have slowed down and tried these again. So about 3 years ago, myself and 3 of my YouTuber friends, we did this progressive dinner style video with the samples from Dusita. And boy, we had ourselves a time with the samples. I went back and looked at those videos before I purchased and purchased the 2 that I thought that I liked based on my own comments in those videos, and then forgot to take into account that tastes change as we continue to try more. And so anyway, let me tell you what I'm getting at here. So I purchased Moonlight in CHANGMAI. I do like these nice bottles. Even though they're simple, there are some nice features like these curved edges and some customized tops that have the brand logo in them. So things like that matter to me in terms of the fragrance house taking the time to make their bottles distinct and unique. So a few people have mentioned that this is a little bit masculine in tone, and I will second that. I don't dislike that part of it. That is fine for me. This comes out as a blast of spicy woodiness when it first opens. As it starts to bloom and blossom, you get some of the citrus aspects of the fragrance. So those are for me the 3 primary accords. It's woody, it's spicy, and it's citrusy. And I do like that. This is a like for now. I want to try it on skin and see how it performs a whole day. I don't dislike it. I have some dislike for the next one that I'm going to talk about. This one gets a thumbs up, but maybe not too enthusiastic thumbs up right now. So let's try this some more, and I will get back to you with my thoughts on this. And then I know for a fact I need to try this next one because in the opening, I dislike it, and I haven't had a chance to let it settle down on me the couple of times that I've tried it. I've tried it on blotter. In that video that I'm talking about, I came back to this fragrance and said that I really liked it, but I was in an era then when I liked heavier green fragrances. So this is also from Dusita. This is called ERAWAN, or that's how I'm going to pronounce it anyway. And it opens up very green, very pungent. It has a little bit of like a charred edge to it, although not smoky. Almost like when the smoke clears and you smell a charred object, an object that has burnt, the smell that's left over. There's a distinct woodiness in the background, lots and lots of aromatic notes and green notes. And I loved it when I first tried it. And so I dislike the opening, and I wonder what this will smell like on the dry down. So those are my honest second impressions at this point because I tried this fragrance a few years ago, and I will come back to you. I'm always willing to give a fragrance a chance and see how it performs and how people react to it and how I feel about it as it progresses during the day. So that was my little bit of a Dusita moment there. I'm smelling Erewhon on the blotter a few minutes later, and it's giving me, what is that smell? It's almost like a combination of wheat germ, the smell that you get when you open a jar or a can of or a bottle of wheat germ, and like the smell of a cigar when you tap it out. You're not using it anymore. You've put the flame out. We're gonna come back to it. Okay. I don't wanna judge it harshly, but right now we might have some problems. I do like to try out new houses from time to time, especially if they are reasonably priced. I don't mind, splurging and doing a little bit of blind buying. I find it exciting. I haven't tried this next house. They are new on So Avant Garde. They were not part of the sale, but I went ahead and purchased anyway. The brand is called Botanicae, and this fragrance, according to Google Pronounce, the name is a Greek name, MERAKI. If you know different, please let us know in the comments because my little American pronunciation would have been MERAKI. Okay, I do like these simplistic bottles. You've got the sort of wood top here with the logo of the brand on the top. I guess let's just show it to you like that, like a B for Botanicae. So nice big bottle. I want to say these were between 100 and 150. I'll put the real price up here and hope that I'm not delusional in remembering what these cost. Ooh, this is beguiling, very different, a little bit of mysteriousness, super interesting, not predictable, not for the non-adventurous among you. It's got beautiful, lush, wet greenness. So this greenness in ERAWAN feels a little bit like ashy, slightly, like I said, charred object smell, plus green stuff. If I had to, without looking at the notes, tell you what I thought some of the notes in here are. I did look at the notes when I purchased it, and I just remember that it had green facets. So definitely wet, lush greenness, like jungle greenness, but in a very light texture way. There is really sticky, icky, deep, thick greenness. I would tell you this probably has something in the star anise direction, very lightly, although it doesn't smell super licorice-ish. A dark, deep grape juice, a little bit of soil tincture note, some florals way in the background, and perhaps a light powderiness and a light touch of musk. And it is very beautiful. The image that comes to mind when I smell this is an enchanted forest. If you're into that type of scent profile, this is a beautiful one. It has a really artistic edge to it too. But the image in my mind is undeniable. Like you've come into a clearing in a beautiful enchanted forest after a rainfall. Then from the same house, I also purchased NOA NOA. This is a cool bottle. I like the little, whatever that is, a stamp on the back there. There's a story behind this. Of course, I forgot. It has something to do with Paul Gauguin paintings and his time in Polynesia. And you can go look it up if you want to know the details. But I was intrigued. And I will say the packaging on this is beautiful. It is an enormous box and it opens up. And I forget, it comes with like a journal, like a writing journal. I guess that goes back to the Paul Gauguin, looking at local people while he was painting and I don't know, recording his thoughts. I'm making this up, but it's a big, beautiful package. And another very interesting fragrance. To me, this smells like a mojito, the drink. A mojito just got made where you crush up the herbs in there. It meets like a watered down grapefruit summer drink, and they both meet up with a slightly candied musk. So this also has nice green aspects, at least from my perception, some nice florals and muted citrus. It's not a bright, happy, like in your face kind of citrus. They're muted and very sort of perfumey in nature. Very interesting. So I am excited to try both of the Botanicae fragrances on skin and see how they perform during the day and how they are received because both of these are interesting and different, not your run-of-the-mill fragrances. Then I'll go to the two that were sent to me in PR from So Avant Garde, and I have to tell you the funny story because this box came. I didn't realize that So Avant Garde was sending these to me. I should have known because I had to pick out the ones that I wanted in PR for the next month. And I remember vaguely picking these out, but at the time that the box arrived, I had forgotten that I picked those out. So I opened them along with the other fragrances that I got in the So Avant Garde sale. I placed 2 other orders. I thought this was my 3rd order because I forgot that I asked for these. I opened them and thought, oh my gosh, I must have purchased these late in the middle of the night. I must have been up late, unable to sleep, and put these in cart and press checkout. Completely forgot. And then I heard from the influencer rep at So Avant Garde that these were on the way. And I was like, those already arrived. And I thought that I purchased them. Anyway, long story short, they sent them out. They got here quicker than she anticipated. I asked for this and forgot that I asked for it and almost actually repurchased it in the sale because I have a small bottle of Akro Glow. Oh my God, these fingerprints. Pardon me. Give me a second here. So this is a fun vanilla amber. I find it to be more vanilla. Other people find it to be more amber. It reminds me somewhat of Gentle Fluidity Gold, those types of easygoing, easy wear, very classy vanilla fragrances that are a little bit more grown up and less gourmand leaning, less sort of young and flirty, and just fully adult. And this is a beautiful fragrance. I love it. I'm glad to have the big bottle. I will probably be putting the smaller bottle up on Mercari if anybody's interested. In fact, 16 fragrances later, I'm going to have to find room on the shelves for these. So I'm going to have to let some fragrances go. I'm not going to do a declutter, but I will put them on Mercari, whatever I end up moving off the shelves to make room for these. And I have been curious about this fragrance, so I asked for this in PR and forgot, like I mentioned. This is from Gritti, and this is called Kill the Lights. So I do like this see-through purpley bottle here, very pretty color. If I remember correctly, this has some leather in it because I'm picking up some really soft, supple, buttery leather. Some florals, perhaps some iris or maybe even violet. It's airy and it's light and it's pretty and could easily be worn by men. In fact, I think this is advertised. Well, I think all of their fragrances are unisex, but this has more masculine leaning notes when you look at it. So maybe even has a little bit of citrus. Let me look up the notes for y'all, even though I said I wasn't going to. Interesting. Not citrus, but other notes that are like they have citrus adjacent kinds of tones to them. Artemisia, Davana, juniper, pink pepper, hay. I don't pick up anything sort of dry and hay-like in this. Leather, yes. I can't even pronounce the next note. Lentisk, Gaiac wood, birch tar. I pick up mostly leather, something in the purple floral family, even though it's not listed here. And I guess what I'm picking up as citrus is maybe some green notes. So this is an interesting fragrance, and I think a very, very unisex one. And I was up late on probably Bloomingdale's or Neiman Marcus or Saks Fifth Avenue or Nordstrom's, one of those. And I decided, I was looking at makeup, I decided to go over into the fragrance world and see what was on sale. Well, why did I do that? Because I ended up purchasing 3 fragrances that were not on my wish list, that I had not even thought about and didn't even know existed. And I have to say, they're all very, very nice. So let me introduce you to something new, 3 somethings new that I haven't heard anybody talk about. And if someone has, I haven't watched the video. This is Brunello Cucinelli. Very simple bottle. Oh, excuse me, Brunello Cucinelli Perfume, because there's a pour homme one. Very simple looking bottle, classy, clean lines, and it is like what the fragrance smells like. So this is a classic, very light wearing, very delicate and demure citrus woody fragrance. I would also venture to say that there are probably some light, very almost soapy white floral notes in here that accompany the citrus and the woodiness, primarily citrus and woods. And there are some aromatic tones in here. So if you like aromatic notes, like maybe something like in the sage direction, there are hints of that here. I think this is one of those classic, everyday, easy breezy, white t-shirt and jeans or wear to the office, reliable fragrances that are gonna be crowd pleasing, smell really good to others. You're gonna smell clean and fresh with a tiny bit of edge, and it's really quite lovely. I don't know why no one talks about this because this is great, and now I wanna try others from this line. I believe this is a designer. I'm not familiar with the designer line, like the clothing, from this maker, Brunello Cucinelli. Let me know in the comments if you are familiar. Along the same lines as the one that I just showed you, I ended up coming across, oh my gosh, I should have looked up how to pronounce the name of this line before I started filming, and it is a designer, Badgley Mischka. But can we take a minute for this bottle? And there's a second one from this line that's even prettier than this. So I don't know what's happening here. This is all plastic, like a lucite type of material, but it's still super pretty and gives the impression of some kind of granite or marble or something of that nature. The actual base of the fragrance is beautiful too, with the gold lettering and the imprint of the name around here. This is called Cap d'Antibes. How was that pronunciation? I did look up that pronunciation. This is very similar to the Brunello, did I call it Bruno? Brunello Cucinelli fragrance, in that it is also citrusy and woody and very fresh smelling. This one, probably because of the name, makes me think about spray of water in your face, like when you're on a boat or something of that nature. And I think it's suggestive because of the name. This smells like if you shampooed your hair with beautiful, luxurious shampoo and then sprayed the Brunello Cucinelli on top. So you have a little bit of like that fruity floral smell underneath, very lightly, but then the citrus and the woodiness on top of that. And it is light and it is fresh and it is sophisticated. And I freaking love this crazy bottle. I love this. I especially love the second bottle that I picked up from the same designer. Look at this pretty cap. Yes, it's a little odd and weird looking, but the colors are pretty. And this is so heavy and substantial in hand. I love this fragrance at first sniff. It is like wispy cotton candy, slightly sweet. Not in the gourmand direction. So my gourmand lovers, please do not think that this smells super sweet and gourmand leaning, but it does have this fresh, light, ever so delicate, wispy sweetness to it. And it's very much like the colors of the top. It's very sort of pink, light, wispy, almost fairy-like in smell. This is a fragrance that I could see young girls wearing because it's so pleasant and unassuming, inoffensive. And the volume, this is the way I would describe this. Like if you think about a fragrance as having a volume of 1 to 10, Hysterica is going to be at about a 9 in terms of the volume. This is probably a 2 in terms of like it whispers on you. Very pretty, very delicate, very pink, slightly sweet, cotton candy texture. Love it. Very, very nice. Oh, I forgot to tell you what it's called. Chateau VIZCAYA. Or maybe VIZCAYA. VIZCAYA, someone weigh in the comments, please. Here, I have 2 more, and then I'd like to just share with you what I purchased from the Joma Shop sale that's on the way. This next fragrance, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this might be a fail, although I will go ahead and give it a proper wear just to see if my opinion changes. So I thought I would like this. However, I should have known from the reviews because the reviews were so mixed on this. Let me just tell you what it is. This is gold from Amouage. I'm glad I purchased the little one. How cute is that? It almost feels like a mini, even though it's just the smaller size of the regular Amouage, but I'm used to handling the big bottles. So the reviews on this fragrance talked about it being a masterpiece, aldehydic, clean, beautiful, vintagey, like vintage aldehyde smelling fragrance. I should have known right there that perhaps I should have like pumped the brakes and tried this, sampled it, and I feel like I have sampled this. And so I thought that it would be a slam dunk. And so the bottle is very pretty. This definitely is vintage smelling. And that's the part of the smell that I can't get down with. In fact, I like to use vintage in a complimentary way. I don't think I mean it this way here. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that this smells for me a little bit too old fashioned. If you smelled Picovaya Dama from Xerjoff, that kind of beautiful powerhouse aldehyde fragrance, imagine that that was sprayed into an old like cedar closet. It was allowed to sit there and the perfume air in the wooden closet got stale. That's a little bit of what I think of when I smell this, and it makes me sad because I wanted to love this. We're gonna try it though and give it a proper wear and be fair before I make up my mind on it. But right now I'm gonna say that this is likely a fail. I did try this next fragrance. I already knew that I loved it because I had given this a decent wear from the sample, not a full day, but you know how when you try it a number of times on skin and every time you come back to it, you love it. Maraschino from Sospiro. Again, this velvet bottle thing, I rather just a slick surface, but this is glorious to me, especially in the opening and in the mid. In the dry down, it becomes almost like this ambery, woody, fruity smell. That's just nice, right? But in the opening and in the mid, for probably the first 3 or 4 hours, the cherry is so juicy and fresh in here. I love the cherry and I love the fruits. It's like cherry on top of a fresh summer fruit salad smell, along with, are there musky notes and maybe touches of powderiness and definitely like some kind of golden amber base, and I like it. So I'm glad that I got this. And then, because ain't no party like a fragrance party, and a fragrance party does not quit. I did go ahead and shop the Joma Shop sale. I am still considering whether I want Delina or not. I don't know. One day I do, and one day I'm certain that I don't. But I did go ahead and pick up one that I had had my eye on, and I did go back for this one and retest the sample right before I ordered to make sure that it is as beautiful as I remembered. And this is Via Cavour 1 from Xerjoff. I'm really excited for that. The sampling experience was great the first time and even better the second time. And then I also picked up from Amouage Journey. So here's a fragrance that when I first tried it, I didn't think I cared for it at all. And then I got suckered into like the FOMO, watching reviews and hearing people talk about how much they love this. So I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that I do love this fragrance as much as other people do. It sounds beautiful, and I think I'm ready for it at this point in my life. And then finally, I ordered Central Park South from Bond Number 9, which is one that I had had my eye on for a while. I just got hiccups, so I'm gonna try to get through the ending without hiccuping in your face. There it went. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. If you did, I appreciate you. Let me know what you think of the fragrances that I purchased. And if you have tried some of the lesser known ones, like these two, or the Brunello, Cucinelli, or the Botanicae fragrances, I would be interested to hear your thoughts on them. Are there others from these lines that I should check out? Please do tell me. I will consider this video my 50th online birthday celebration, and I really appreciate you being here to celebrate with me. Take care, friends.